Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, well, a recent article from Wizards reveals some major things from the upcoming Aether Drift set, including some brand new exciting gods. And if you're like me, when a new god gets announced, it's like, well, let's see what that one might be, because it might be an incredibly powerful one that many Commander players out there are incredibly excited to play with and against. Let's jump into it. So, if you want to read the entire article, you are more than welcome to. I will try to remember to actually link it in the comments below, or should I say the description below. Planeswalker's Guide to Aether Drift Part 2. It is quite the lengthy article. Goes into some of the story as well. But again, when it comes to me and approaching story, I maybe just skim a little bit and then look for kind of what commanders we might be seeing in the future. So let's jump into them. And the first new god that was revealed is this frog lady god of some sort. So apparently, and so I'm just going to leave the image up here for a second, then we get to the description, but apparently, this is a brand new god that just happened to pop up in Amonkhet, and again, story-wise, not exactly sure how that's like, oh, we just discovered this brand new god that didn't help during the War of the Spark thing for some reason. Regardless, anyways, let's jump into the actual description. And my apologies if I mispronounce anything. Sab-Sunen evidenced her presence before she revealed herself to the people of Amonkhet. The Luxa surge after the end of the Phyrexian invasion, flooding through Noctimoon and washing away the blood, oil, and machine corpses. The city was cleansed. In the wake of the floods came more rain, then frogs, and then the sun. Green life sprang up. Noctimoon seemed refreshed. The river Luxa once more flowing steady, high and clear, and the long, dry irrigation canals in the surrounding farmland once more carried water. The people celebrated, and at the height of the celebration and thanks, Sab-Sunen finally appeared. She takes the form of a human woman with a golden frog's head, carrying an icon of renewal. So this is the description we have so far. What might we see when it comes to an actual commander for this? Well, my thought process is this. So previously we got 5 gods, right? 5 of the actual gods in the original Amonkhet, 1 of each color. We will see that there is a return god that I'll get to here in a little bit that covers 1 of the colors. So my thought process is, and well, just because, yeah, the Luxa, like Bounty of the Luxa, and this god just in general seems to be like Simic. I'm assuming we're going to be getting 1 god that covers 2 colors, another god that covers the other 2 colors, and the last god, which is a return god, covering the original colors. So with this one, this is just speculation, but I have been actually pretty close sometimes when it comes to actually getting these right. I've been way off other times too, but let's ignore those. Anyways, let's just talk about what this god might be. My thought is this, and I do think it's going to be imaged off of the previous iterations of the gods, and I do think that'd be cool to kind of bring that initial design back for them. I know when it went to like the God Eternal ones, that was a bit different because, well, they were a bit different being Eternals at that point. That being said, Sab-Sunen, Icon of Renewal, is my design. For 2 green and a blue, Ledger Creature God, Indestructible, and Reach. Reach, apparently. Sure, very, 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 very needed in this. Sab-Sunen can't block or attack unless you control 8 or more lands. So again, that attack or block condition, this time being land-based. Again, talking about how this is a God of Renewal. Talked about the land quite a bit, so I think a focus on that could be nice. And then also 1 green-blue. If you have the top card of your library, if it's a land card, put that card on the battlefield under your control. Otherwise, create a 1/1 green and blue frog creature token. So basically, either going and getting lands off the top of your library, putting them into play, helping you actually attack with this commander, or essentially, if you don't hit lands off the top of your library, being able to make an army of frogs. So yeah, it could go either way. And this is a 6/6 creature, so a good amount of power, but again, you do need to be able to get to that amount of lands to actually utilize it. So yeah, I mean, if you were building a deck around this commander, quite a bit of lands, I would assume, in the deck, as well as ways to maybe even see the top card of your library, like a future sight type card, essentially. So it could be an interesting design, interesting build. We shall see how close or far away I am from this design. The things I am absolutely sure on are, well, that it's going to be Simic. I am nearly positive about that, I would assume, and that it is a god. Other than that, I could be super wrong on everything else, but I would assume that lands or frogs have to be involved somehow with this one. Moving on to this amazing art for this amazing god. Looks really, really cool. So we've got somewhat of a, like, defiant god with, like, weaponry. Looks like actually a bow and arrow, essentially. So calling back to, what, Oketra, essentially? I think had a bow and arrow back then. Regardless, let's move into the description for this god. And we've got... Ketramose is a young god born from the fierce determination of the living Amonkhet to survive and the undead Amonkhet to protect the living. So a combination of life and death. I wonder what colors those are. He is the god of the breaking dawn and the future that awaits tomorrow, the living and the honored dead, hope, solidarity, endurance, and the peasantry. The god of a lot of things, apparently. His birth followed the arrival of Sab-Sunen, born from the reeds that grew at the banks of the restored Luxa and Noctimen. In rising from the sparkling water after the end of the Phyrexian invasion, he carries a bow that evokes Oketras, there you go, and takes form of a muscled young warrior with a golden lion's head. Most definitely. So again, things to keep in mind from this description are, well, again, living, dead. That's kind of the main things that I got of this. So I'm like, I wonder what they're going to go with that. So, we've got Ketramose, god of the breaking dawn, and again with that kind of like living dead aspect of it, yeah, Orzhov kind of feelings with that. So if you're doing the math right now, we've gotten green, blue with the previous one. This is white, black for this one, and then the next one we'll talk about here in a second, though. Regardless, this one, in my opinion, I think this is going to be a lower cost god. 1 white, black, so 3 mana in total. Legendary creature god. Indestructible, vigilance on this one. I tried to pick keywords that weren't previously used in the other ones, and I think Oketra was double strike, I think? Anyways, can't attack or block unless there are 4 more creature cards in your graveyard, and excess Bantu was menace. I guess I should mention that too. 4 more creature cards in your graveyard, so again, the god of life and death, focusing on that death aspect with this. That being said, bringing back that life aspect with it too. 1 white, black, mill 5 cards. You may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So kind of like bringing life back to cards in a way. Again, another way to generate some card advantage in a way to potentially fill up your graveyard. Make it so that this can actually attack. Maybe even if you get lucky right away, potentially if you mill enough cards in there. And being able to return a creature card back from your graveyard to your hand, a lot of value to be had with that. So, yeah, kind of a give and take life and death approach. This is a 5/5. I guess I should have mentioned that as well. But yeah, low to the ground, vigilant, can protect you, can swing, and also can deal with life, death, bringing things back, and yeah, filling your graveyard with things. So, I do think this is I like the design of this one as well. I think the build around path could be quite nice. Take advantage of, well, so maybe some reanimation effects potentially. Maybe take advantage of effects of things that actually want to get into the graveyard, want to hit the graveyard, or just like, hey, yeah, Sir Conrad the Grim, like, oh, yeah, like, creatures hit the graveyard, cool, ping people. So yeah, those kinds of things as well. So this is just my idea for the design. And again, the things that I am positive on for this one, again, just because of the description, for myself, I am positive, I should say, that it is an Orzhov commander and that it is a god. Those are the 2 things that I am sure on. Everything else, again, could be up for debate. But again, I do think that there's going to be like a life-death aspect with this one. So that's just my thought. Again, with like milling and graveyards and returning, and there you go, life death. Okay, moving on. Hazoret, yeah, okay, if you're doing the math right there, and actually if you knew any of the magic story with it, which I kind of forgot about that, but apparently Hazoret survived. Okay, like all the other gods are like, oh no, I'm gone, or at least the good ones, right? All the other gods are gone. Bantu, Oketra, Kefnet, and Ronus. There we go, got him. All right, 3 of those I think were killed by the scorpion god, and 1 was exploded. Bantu, I believe. Anyways, so Hazoret is, of course, the red god, and unless Hazoret had a complete change and is like, you know what, done with red, want a different color now. No, I think Hazoret is going to be that red god still. So again, when it comes to the original 5, 1 was each color, and then this time around, we've got 1 that seems like it'd be Simic, 1 that seems like it'd be Orzhov, and now 1 that seems like it would be mono red to complete that 5-color pairing, essentially. So Hazoret maintains her austere distance from the people of Amonkhet, taking only small cadres of, is that a word? Anyways, I don't know, elite warriors out into the broken lands who scout parts of the plane unknown to them. Out there, they stalk the trails of the Locust god and the Scarab god, tracking rumors. Did I say the Scarab god? I meant Scorpion god, if that's the one that killed the 3 gods. Anyways, Scorpion god, Scarab god, tracking rumors of a Chitin Court. That's not the word. Chitin? Chitin. No idea. Court and a numberless monarchs who worship them. They send word back to Noctimoon for reinforcements, depositing recovered artifacts of pre-Bolas Amonkhet in new charts of the Broken Lands. The people call her godseeker and keep her and her cohort in reverent, if somewhat fearful, prayers. So, seeking the other gods, going after the Locust god and the Scarab god, and probably still being red, I would assume. That is just kind of my assumption from all this, but I didn't really see anything that was like, and you know what, she had a very, very different, she changed to now be a lot more nature-focused, or she's like, oh, she started reading a bunch of books, and I don't know, for blue. I'm trying to think of, like, what would be blue? Anyways, moving on. So, Hazoret, my guess for this one is, again, staying mono red, this time lower to the ground. Again, Hazoret, Godseeker of the Broken Lands. This is a 2 and a red for the cost, 3 mana in total. Ledger, creature, god, indestructible, haste. I do believe it was haste last time. Try to think of if they would actually change that up or if they do a different one. And it's like, Menace was already there. That's a red one as well, but that was in Bantu. I think had Menace as well. So it's like, haste, give you a first strike, but like, does first strike really matter all that much when your commander's indestructible? Probably not. So I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to go with this, though. We're going to stick with that haste, okay? That's probably what I feel least confident. Anyways, Hazoret can't attack or block unless you've cast 2 more spells this turn. So kind of like a, hey, you can start doing things like if you're utilizing that approach, if you are actually going about and doing things, which again, Hazoret is right now, like seeking those gods, doing things, casting spells, there you go, making progress, then you can attack or block, okay? And to help you out, though, 2 are, so 2 in a red, 3 mana in total, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards for 3. So this is a commander that gives you basically repeatable impulse draw. Again, it is for a, 2 in a red's not too bad for that effect. I think you get that effect for like 2 mana typically, like on a one-off spell. So yeah. Impulse draw effectively for that, though. But even if you can't utilize those cards this turn, you could save them up for next turn to help you essentially get that activation that, okay, 2 or more spells in a turn, I can actually attack or block if I need to. So that's my approach with this one. Again, kind of like an urgency with it, right? An urgency to actually do things because, again, Hazoret is looking for those gods that are, I guess, evil. I'm not sure. Anyways, worked with Bolas, I guess. Anyways, next up. Okay, let's talk about some other gods that might be returning. Again, we talked about how, well, in the very first Amonkhet, again, we had 5 gods, 1 of each color. In the Hour of Devastation, was that one? We got the 3 evil gods of some sort, Scorpion, Scarab, and Locust. And apparently Scorpion is dunzo. Anyways, they decided to build a racetrack around a monument to the Scarab god for some reason. That being said, we very well might see the Scarab god as well as the Locust god brought back in this set too. So again, we would have 5 gods once again showing off their presence in this set, which I think kind of makes sense, when it comes to the design function, and again, having essentially, again, the 5 colors representing the quote-unquote good gods, and then the bad gods still probably keeping their original colors, I would assume. So, with that description that we got from this, the monarchs of the Broken Lands and their followers are more than enough of a well for the gods of the Kithkin. I say that wrong. It's I don't know. Chitin? Why am I saying Kithkin? I don't know. Chitin Court to maintain their divinity, but not enough to feed them back to full strength. Until then, the Chitin gods wait and plot on honing their divine weapons and gathering new legions of the pre-Bolas dead. The new pantheon is an abomination of the Chitin Court. They see them as creations of Bolas, whether literally, as in Hazoret's case, or born from a land tainted by him, as in Ketramose and Sab-Sunen's case, not true gods of Amonkhet. The Chitin Court's plans are long, as is their vision. They will collect their faithful, grow their orders, resuscitate the fallen and brethren of the Chitin Court. Only then will they take back the plane they built, or take a break. Racers and citizens of Amonkhet whisper of dark signs in the Broken Lands that herald the approach to the Chitin Court. These include the shed signs of molting insects flowing like a dry river through the dunes, the towering skeleton of the Locust god, Scarab god, seen in the swirling currents of mighty sandstorms, and empty tombs of ancient kings and emperors uncovering from the inside. Their sarcophagi shattered and vacant weapons racks disturbed. These signs are not yet enough to reach the ears of Noctimon's leaders and deities, but they will in time. So again, like some silhouette, some just like, this kind of like dark presence in the background is kind of what I'm thinking about, like building up is kind of the main thing I'm getting from this, essentially building power, not quite there, but building. That's kind of the inspiration for these next designs, and we have the Scarab God Eternal Monarch. That is going to be my first one that I'm going to talk about. Same colors as the original Scarab God, 4 blue and a black. Legend creature God. I am pretty sure, again, that if Scarab God is coming back, which I assume it is, that it is still going to be the exact same colors. I can't see any reasoning for a different edition of another color. Like, I'm not be like, oh, okay, yeah, Scarab God just like, you know what, I really decided to take up nature as well. Give me some green. All right, at the beginning of each end step, create X tap 2/2 black zombie creature tokens, or X the number of non-tone creatures that died this turn. So kind of like the opposite approach-ish of what we got from the initial Scarab God, where the Scarab God benefited you and hurt opponents based on the number of zombies you already had. This one's like assuming that you don't have those zombies. Again, you are building. Something is building up. That's kind of what I got from that, description, essentially. That it's not at full power, but it is getting there. So essentially, things die and you are making a bunch of zombies on every end step, not just your own. Yeah, that can get quite out of control. Also, by paying blue and a black, sacrificing a creature, you draw a card. So again, sacrificing things to the cause to build things up. And essentially sacrificing those, again, non-token creatures of your own, you can turn them essentially into tap 2/2 zombies as well. In keeping with the initial formatting in Hour of Devastation, when the Scarab God dies, turn to its owner's hand at the beginning of next end step, and it's a 6/6. So, didn't really deviate from that. I think it would be nice if they brought that back again. Again, kind of like they bring back the initial gods and their indestructibility, and then like the attack and block thing too. Okay, so that's where I'm at with the Scarab God again. Things that I am, again, pretty sure about the mana value, or not the mana value, the mana cost essentially being in, those two colors. It's colored in, I should say, as well as the fact that it is a god. I also think, again, like with the gods, there is going to be some hardiness to them. Again, whether that is indestructibility of the previous ones, or with these, again, dying, coming back, essentially, or like the, God Eternals going back to the library or whatnot, okay? So some hardiness to the gods has to be there too, I guess I should mention. But yeah, I do think kind of like playing into what the previous one did, but kind of in an opposite way, I think could be pretty nice with this. Okay, moving on to the last one, the Locust God. Swarm's Harbinger is my design for this one. 3 blue and a red. So again, is it colors? Again, I do not think that is going to change. This is a god with flying. It says, whenever a creature control deals combat damage to an opponent, create a 1/1 blue and red insect creature token with flying. So again, the initial Locust God was what? Whenever you're drawing a card, you make a 1/1 hasty insect with flying. This one's not granting the haste, obviously, because, I guess unless you go to a next combat, which, yeah, I guess you could, you're not really swinging with those insects right away anyways. But essentially, getting through with evasive creatures helps you create more evasive creatures. So again, you are building that up. You're not just there, you need to build that up. So getting your army out there, getting things ready, you hit. And then next turn you're hitting for more. And then next turn you're building for more and more and more. Those insects you're making can help you make more and more and more. Obviously, double strike effects could really help too. Regardless, also has pay a blue, pay a red. Target creature gains haste and menace until end of turn. So a way to, again, encourage creatures to get out there and swing quickly. Get out there, swing quickly, get through. On top of that, when Locust God dies, return to its owner's hand at the beginning of next end step. So again, exact same thing as it had previously, and it's a 3/4. So slightly weaker Locust God than previously, but less expensive as well when it comes to mana value wise. Again, things that I am sure of. If we are getting Locust God, I am sure it still isn't. It's also going to be still a god. It will still have flying. I didn't read anywhere that Locust God, lost its wings. Oh no, poor Locust God. So I would assume that as well. And of course, again, that hardiness I would assume with it too. Now, finally, there was also this gnarly image. And if someone knows exactly what this is, please let me know in the comments below. I tried to find what it is. I don't think it's a god, okay? It was also in there too. Talked about kind of like the Deathlands, that kind of stuff too. But I don't think it is a god. I would assume it is a demon of some sort. It kind of reminds me of Archfiend of Ifnir vibes. I don't think we have a specific demon that looks exactly like this, but someone in the comments below, let me know, please. But, it could be like a demon god kind of thing, which would be kind of cool. So yeah, let me know what this one is in the comments below. All you lore mages out there, if you know exactly what this is, please let me know. It's pretty sweet. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on all my designs. If you think any of them are close, again, I have been very close before in the past on some of them. I've also been off on others too, but I think overall, again, if I have to say what I think I'm most confident in, yeah, Simic Frog God, the another god being Orzhov, and then Hazoret being red to do the 5 colors, and then the other 2 gods just being what they originally are if we are getting them back too. So that is my thought process on all this. Let me know if you think that's sound or if I'm way off. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. Comment below with your thoughts on it, and of course, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.